What is up, fam?
Welcome
Burnt
back.
Denim fam. We are back with another episode. And again, if you don't know who we are Burnt Denim, and we are the podcast where we spread knowledge,
Instill passion,
generate conversation. My name is Max.
My name's Nick.
And we are super excited today.
Yeah, so starting off, we always have a segment called Explain That Fit, where we go through the outfit that we are wearing and sort of break it down and explain where we got it, if there's any cool stories with it or anything like that. So do you want to go first?
Yes, I really do.
I would love to.
My outfit is a very interesting one. We just came from church. So I'm wearing the CC hat. Shout out to CC Coffee in, I don't know what the full name is. Shout out to UCC, but it's in Oregon. And so, yeah, I just like the design of it. I got the very hyped collab, the Simple Simon. No, I'm just kidding.
You know about that?
The Simple Simon shirt. This is shout out to Torn and Worn Vintage on Instagram. So I got this from them, from Nick. And I have some North Face snowboarding pants that I thrifted for like $10. And then I have the Yeezy 700 Wave Runners, one of the best shoes. So that's what I have. Nick, what do you have on today?
I just have a pretty simple outfit. Going top to bottom, I am wearing a Maverick City Music merch hat.
Come on now.
They're great. You should look them up. I'm wearing a vintage Dickies work shirt. It's like a green, like a jade colorway, like
Jade.
an emerald,
I'd call it, or a hunter green, perhaps.
Hunter green. Forest. Not
Forest
Kelly
Gump?
Green. Not Kelly Green.
No.
Not you, Kelly.
Not you, Kelly.
Also wearing a vintage Star Wars t-shirt, all over print with Darth Vader. Wearing some Levi's gold top jeans and some Nike Blazers.
Let's not talk about Blazers. But yeah, those are cool.
Let's talk about Blazers.
Yeah, I like it.
Thany you.
Actually, you know, I just realized we've had people tell us, like, when you say explain the fit, I want to, like, know behind it. So there is one thing I kind of just skipped over. I'm going to tell a quick mini story because I know your time is very valuable. But these Wave Runners, I bought them from a guy in Chicago when I was in Chicago because it's going to be my first Yeezy. And he said, bro, pay me. I can't meet you right now, like, but I need the money before. Never do this. Never pay someone without secure. I cash after him $200 and he never showed up to give them to me. Like, literally months later, I call him and I was like, bro, like, I found out he's in the military. I was like, I'm gonna call your recruiting person. He gets all scared. He ships them. So they got here. But basically, moral of the story.
I'm gonna call a recruiting person.
I did. And he got mad. He's like, bro, I'm gonna go to his house. Like, he said, I put it on my Marine honor. I'll give him to you. And he never did. That is terrible. But yeah, so basically, moral of the story, if you're buying shoes or clothing, always have a guarantee. Like, use PayPal or don't Cash App or Venmo or anything like that.
Meet in person too, or like Cash App in person. One thing I also recommend.
PayPal is pretty sick.
I recommend meeting at your local sneaker shop because you can always have someone there legit check. If you don't know how to do that, a lot of them will sort of like look for you for free or even like a low price, which is worth it because you don't want to end up spending a lot of money on some fakes, right?
Yes. He's saying this because we'll talk about it later in another episode. I kind of want to go into that. But I basically spent almost $500 on a pair of fake shoes that I've had for a couple years. Cue the sad music. But anyway, that is not what we're here to talk about today. Nick, what are we here to talk about today?
We got some very interesting and intriguing content for you guys today. We're going over a very hot topic. Some people are very back and forth on this.
About it.
Very passionate. Again, it is personal for a lot of people because it is their livelihood, I would argue.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are going to be talking about the idea of, is it justified to resell sneakers? Not one sneaker like, oh, I bought this and I had it for a long time. I don't really wear it, so let me sell it to my cousin for what I bought it for, so I can buy something else. It's someone habitually buying sneakers with the sole intent of reselling them for profit. Not even them liking them. No pun intended. But it's going to be a good.
This is a big argument. And because of that, we don't share our views, but it might be apparent how certain people feel. But we're going no notes.
Yeah, no notes.
This is
straight from the heart.
We usually prepare. You see us looking down.
And mine.
You can't see behind the computer, but
the iPad got.
We have an iPad, and that's where you see us looking down when we're doing brand history or segments like this.
Like information.
We want to write a lot of notes, but we felt that it would be very cool to kind of go no notes on this because it's an issue that we just want to see how we can debate each other. And
this has been something too that
I think about a lot.
We've been holding on to since we started the podcast. When it was just a podcast, not even on YouTube, it was something that we're
famous
both
now.
Are very interested about.
Yeah.
Both relatively involved around the conversation already. So it was something we wanted to hold on to for a really good time. So I figure there's no better time to have the conversation than now.
Let's note it, baby.
Again, this is just us having a objective conversation. We don't have all the answers, so we want you guys to engage in this as well.
Got the answers, Sway.
After we finish our conversation, you can comment below, let us know your thoughts through Instagram or through YouTube. Check us out at Burnt Denim. Like, subscribe, share to make sure this conversation spreads out to the most people
We want to hear your
as
thoughts.
possible. Because this is very interesting. A lot of people have very different viewpoints on this and personal stories. So we like to hear those as well.
Yes.
But jumping into it, Max, do you want to start us off? Is it justified to resell sneakers?
Is it justified?
Before I do that, Matt Welty, help me out with this.
Matt Welty.
Have you
Matt
ever
Welty's the
resold
man.
sneakers?
Have you ever resold sneakers? He's a famous sneaker like YouTuber guy for Complex, and he always asks this question. So the stance I'm going to take on this is no. You should not resell sneakers. And I have a few points on them, but at the same time, I kind of just want to share what the heart of it is. And basically the heart of it is when you resell sneakers, you're taking that sneaker away from someone who genuinely wants it. I don't think you can apply this argument to everything. I don't think you can apply it to, well, when you do this, then it's indirectly affecting or directly affecting someone else. But I think with this specific issue, it is very apparent, and it is very apparent that when you do buy one to resell, you're taking it away from someone who genuinely wants the shoe, makes it harder for them to get that shoe for resale. And before I really hop into this argument, for people who are new to this conversation, I kind of just want to establish kind of a few concepts that you may not know about. So first of all, you may be wondering why resell shoes. Like, what does that mean? You know, you may be new to this. Basically, shoes nowadays, if they're collaborations or they're big shoes like Jordan drops or Yeezys or anything like that, there's a limited stock produced. You know, there will be, it's not made, you know, and just put in a regular shoe store, right? And so basically, you have to buy them the fastest. Shoes literally sell out in seconds right now. And so the resale market is where people who got the shoes like at that hard way to get them or very fast, they sell them on the resale market and make a profit, they have margins on that. And so another kind of common term is cop. When we say, oh, like we want to cop this, you probably know what that means, but like, oh, did you cop them? That means basically, did you get them? Because they're extremely hard to get. So basically that's why we're having this conversation. Taking L's means you took a loss, obviously. But that's why they're having this conversation is because shoe culture has become something that is so coveted, that is so wanted by these resellers, people who want to make money on them. That's a whole industry. And I'm not even looking at notes, you can see, but I read something earlier that said that in the New York Times, that said that the sneaker resale industry is going to be valued at $6 billion by 2025. So it is a growing industry. It is a huge industry.
That's great.
And I think, no, it's not great. It's
I think
terrible.
so.
It's terrible because I'm a purist in the sense of I want the people who want the shoes to get the shoes, the people who are going to wear them, the people who may not wear them, but they're collectors and they're keeping them for themselves. And when these resellers come in and buy all the shoes in the market and then they sell them to them at a higher price, it leaves someone who actually wants the shoes, it leaves them three options. Option number one. What?
Okay. No, you just really thought this up.
I have thought this out.
Yeah.
I totally am passionate about this. Option number one. They can spend the money to buy bots. And if you don't know what bots are basically computer programs that can bypass all these things and basically get a shoe very fast.
Hypothetically, they don't always work.
They don't always work, but they work a majority of the time. And so the option number one is to buy bots, and that can cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars with paying for the bot, paying for VPNs, paying for proxies, all these things. Option number two is paying resale for the shoe, which is sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 times more than the retail. And option number three, they just don't get the shoe.
Or win it manually.
I'm just saying, I'm not talking about these one-off things, but how often are people who want shoes not winning them manually? They're getting better. Like I actually won this last weekend on a pair of shoes manually because they're putting more things that make it hard for these automatic computer programs to buy the shoes. But when you buy,
manually meaning also too, for those of you who don't know, manually meaning you entering your own information on your like phone or laptop and purchasing it yourself without some computer program doing all the work for you to speed up the process.
Yes.
So yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. So I think that when all these bots are saturating the market and taking all these pairs of shoes away from people who actually want to wear them, it's doing a disservice to the sneaker community. Yes, it may be doing a service to the economy as a whole, but we're not here to talk about what is economically best for the world. We're here to talk about, is it justified? And we're a fashion podcast where I try to take the stance of sort of a purist in the sense of I want people who want the things to get them first. So I think it's not justified because when these resellers come in, like I said, and they buy it out, these people aren't getting them.
Here,
that's basically,
yeah.
I mean, like, what else can you say? Like, there are people who legitimately want a pair of Yeezys, legitimately want a pair of Off-Whites, not because they simply want to just flex on everyone, not because they want to resell them, but because they want to actually wear them and they really appreciate the story behind the shoe. And I think that when these resellers come and do it, they're charging these exponential prices to people who actually want them, and they never get the shoe. And then it creates this toxic environment of, look how much my shoe is worth.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Resellers don't set the price, the demand for it does. And I think you were sort of touching on this before. The natural economics of this that you have to understand that goes behind reselling sneakers. The sneakers release in a limited supply with a high demand, which means a high price point. When they are initially released, they don't have that high of a price point. For example, they're released for $200, but the demand is so high in comparison to the supply that the resale price will be higher. So meaning when Nike or something releases a shoe for $200, let's say 500 people buy out the shoes, for example, but there's 1,000 people that want them. Whoever wants them the most will pay the most money to get them at whatever the price is. So the question then becomes, who makes the money in that gap between the retail price of what they're released for and the resale price?
I mean, it's the resellers.
So the question is exactly who makes the money? The resellers?
Yes.
Or the retailers?
The resellers. 100%. And I think that's terrible.
Right. And I think that's good. Who needs the money though? The retailers don't need the money. Nike doesn't need additional. So you're saying if there's a limited shoe, Nike themselves should release it for $500.
No, I'm not saying that. I think
of that. So
no,
Nike doesn't need the extra money, but the 15-year-old kid that's out there looking to find unorthodox ways to provide for himself and his own habits and spending things. So he kind of capitalized on that, and he's able to get that.
The thing is, I think it's overall
off of that.
Yes, he's able to profit off of that. But the thing is, it's creating this oversaturated market of sneakers where people don't actually care about the shoes anymore. They care about how much the resale value is worth. I'm not arguing that it's bad to have limited shoes. Limited shoes are cool. They become collector's items. But I think when those limited shoes come out, the people who should get them are the people who appreciate, wow, this is limited. I appreciate this shoe. I'm going to keep it in my collection. I'm going to wear it. Or I'm going to keep it as sort of a collector's piece. When instead it becomes, I can make some money off of this. And like I said, if you do it here and there, it's okay. Like, I understand that. But when it becomes, you're the one who's buying all these shoes, you're the one who's the resellers are getting more of the shoes than the people who actually want them. And it's insanely hard for an average person like me, if I want a pair of shoes, just to go to Nike when they release and get them. I have to go to a place like StockX or GOAT or a Facebook group or something, and I have to pay extra money. And another point I want to argue.
If you really want them that bad, that's something that you will do.
But the thing is, it creates a lot of extra stress in the process, aside from me being able to get them from Nike.
Which I think is part of the story.
I don't think it's part of the story because, we talked about earlier, I got ripped off. Like, I'm going to tell a personal anecdote. I got ripped off on a pair of Off-White Blazers that I'd wanted forever. I'd appreciated what Virgil Abloh had done with the collection. I'd wanted them. I wasn't buying them to resell them. I bought them because I like them. I even went a size and a half too big so I could stuff socks in them and literally wear them to find out that they're fake. And because of this resale market where the resellers are buying up all the shoes and the people who want them aren't getting them, it creates this worry of, are you even buying a real pair? We did it, is it justified on buying fake sneakers? I'm not really trying to get into that right now. But what I'm saying is, when you don't have access to being able to actually buy the shoe yourself because resellers have already bought it, then you have to go through all these hoops on getting the shoe verified if it's real at a sneaker store or through a StockX, still having the chance that StockX may not be able to tell if it's a real shoe or not because so many fakes are made. So it creates this whole stress on, do you even have a real pair of shoes that you just paid $500 for? In the case of me, I bought one and it turns out, no, I didn't. And so we have to bring it back to the question because we're kind of going off on tangents, but the question is it justified to resell shoes? When you resell shoes, you become a part of the problem of people who want the shoes not getting them and having to jump through extra hoops and having to jump through extra stress and having to jump through, just all of these things, wondering if the shoes are ever real. Is it justified to even pay these, buy these shoes? And then the people who actually want to be a part of it, there's a barrier to entry that they're never going to be able to be a part of it because they can't afford it because all these resellers got them.
Well, I think that
I just ranted. I'm sorry.
I think that resellers actually add to the exclusivity of it, making you want it even more.
Yeah, but that's unhealthy.
So if you really want it, then you would spend more.
I don't think you should buy it just because other people are saying you should or because of what the market says it's worth. I have a pair of shoes now, like the Travis Scott Dunks I got them for retail for $150. I was blessed by my friend Spencer. They're going for like $1,800 and people are like, why don't you sell them? Why don't you sell them? I keep getting pressured. Bro, why don't you sell these shoes? I like them, but I still don't like them more than some of my other shoes. I have a pair of $200 shoes that I like more. And I don't like it just because the value says it's worth more. I think that this toxic culture has been created on where people only care about your shoes if they're worth an amount of money. That's what happened with Yeezy. I like how Kanye went the route and said, let's make them more available, because Yeezy started out as people wanting them because the resale value was so high. People didn't actually like the design. They didn't actually appreciate what he was doing. They saw that and said, wow, that's $1,000 pair of shoes. I wish I had those so people could look at me. It goes back to what we had last week with the posing. And wearing, things to kind of fit in. You're wearing that because it has this resale value. I think that's so messed up because I think a pair of just Ultra Boost can be cooler than a pair of shoes that's worth thousands of dollars. I mean,
so let me ask you two questions. The first one I want you to answer is what would you say to those who own a resale shop, meaning that they buy sneakers wholesale at a lower price or get them real quickly during a release or use bots or whatever, and they end up getting a high supply of limited shoes and then sell them at an elevated price? What would you say to those store owners?
Here's the thing. Those stores, those resale shops are not always using the bots. They're buying them from people. There's one in Sacramento, Kicks Unlimited. They're not buying.
Is there an issue with reselling or with bots though?
I think the issue, well, here's the thing, is I think there wouldn't need to be these resale shops if people who got the shoes actually or people who actually wanted the shoes got them first. There wouldn't be a need for them. And I think here's the other thing too. I think it's cool when you wear shoes and then you eventually resell them. Like I've worn shoes to get other shoes that you want, right? To kind of I know we've had this talk a lot in private of how we kind of recycle the same money because we don't want to be adding money all the time into buying new clothes because it can get very expensive. So we'll wear a shoe for a while and then sell it and then be able to get another pair of shoes. That I'm cool with that. It's when I guess my biggest problem, you're right, my biggest problem would be with bots, but I still think people who are buying them with the intent to resell, it still kind of skews the market because even if you copped them manually, it's making these exorbitant prices. And I think that these resale shops, that is a good question that I would have to think about a little bit longer because I personally, I maybe have bought like one or two things from a resale shop, but when I go in there, I appreciate them for the fact that you can go in there and look at them and you can see the shoe in your hand before you buy it yourself. But I don't know. I think it's a little different with that. I think when it's individuals who have all these bots and they're using getting all these shoes, but when it's a resale shop, they are kind of there to serve the community, showing them what the shoes are like and having availability for them to buy.
Of the culture, I guess.
Yeah.
So second question. So there wasn't really a good answer for the first one. Second question is how would you regulate the people who want them the most getting them?
Yes. This is a question I've been waiting for. How would I do that? So one thing that I've seen sneaker shops doing, I know probably a lot of people won't agree with me for this, but I agree with it, is forcing the people who get them to wear them out of the store. That happened with a few releases, and I really like that. They wouldn't let you leave the store with this hype pair of shoes without wearing them. And as many people know, when you wear something, it's like driving a car out of the lot. As soon as you drive it out, its price decreases. So when people wear them out of the store, the price instantly goes down. And that's to encourage people who actually are going to want them to keep them. I literally saw videos. This made me sad. I saw videos of people like wearing it out of the store. I forget what shoe it was. They wear it out of the store and immediately taking off, cleaning the bottom and putting them back in the box. And I was like, this is so sad to where culture is so about, I need to resell these rather than I'm going to wear these. Like, what are shoes even? They've become something
but then what if you're buying them for the appreciation of the shoe as an art piece? Not even, I'm going to sell it, but I'm going to keep it dead stock. For those of you who don't know, that means like basically not tried on, not worn, but you're keeping that as like a collector's item.
Right.
So they would never be able to do that then, is what you're saying.
No, I understand that point too, but I think it's kind of this greater good situation where I think there's not as many people who are buying shoes simply as an art piece as there are people who would buy them to wear them. Like even look at collectors like Mayer. He's a big sneaker collector. He's selling all of his shoes because he doesn't wear them anymore. They don't fit him. And so, no, yeah, I do. That is a valid point, but I still think it discourages people from reselling. And also online, what happened with the recent release, the Union Jordan 4, which I was lucky enough to win on manually, before you actually bought him out, he's salty. But that's the same day I found out I had a fake pair of shoes, so it balanced out. But but before you could check out, it asked you a question like, what color is an orange? You had to so adding more things that require a manual person to be there typing and not just a computer algorithm. I think that's another way to discourage, simple like resell it because the resellers a lot of times use bots, and so it discourages people, and the people who actually like want them end up getting them. I look in Facebook groups, they're like, yes, I finally won on a pair of shoes because they put these restrictions in place. There's never going to be a way to totally restrict it. There's never going to be a way, and I realize this, where the people who want them are always going to get them. But I think there are steps that we could take, such as that, or forcing people to wear them out of the store, or even like asking people trivia behind the shoe, like if they've been paying attention to it in their checkout process, things like that, I think are just ways.
So then the kid that's say like 13 years old, just got into sneakers, doesn't know the history behind the Jordan 1, but sees a cool pair.
I'm not talking about history. I'm talking about like if they paid attention.
Get into it.
Like on the like in the description of the shoe, like they've known about it. It's not just because on bots you can say, okay, check out this shoe this week, but they've actually been like paying attention. Ooh, I see this shoe is coming out. Not about the whole history behind it, but about the shoe coming out. It's just, I don't have all the answers on how to regulate it, but I think there are better ways to regulate, to fight the bots, to fight the resellers. If there was a way to kind of bring down this resale industry,
I don't know. Also, too, one great thing that I think this does that helps people, even outside of the sneaker industry in specific, is teaches people about like financial literacy, which I think a lot of people that are into sneakers don't necessarily know about sort of the basic economics of one, supply and demand, but also how to buy things that are high of demand versus like buying like bricks or whatever, things that won't resell, learning how to sort of manage your money, save up like that, learning when to sell, like managing different things as if it was like a stock, for example.
That's,
what I mean?
That's my point on why it's terrible, because if we let shoes,
it educates people on financial literacy.
I think that is such a small part of it. They're just looking to make a dollar. Listen to me.
Why is that bad though? In and of itself.
I wouldn't have a problem with it if the people who actually wanted them weren't having to pay these exorbitant prices. That's where my problem stems from. And I think when shoes become something like a stock, where there's no actual, it becomes sort of this financial, it's like oil. Like when people buy oil, or like they're trading barrels of oil, like it's kind of a complex thing. They're not actually like trading actual barrels of oil. It's like sort of this financial like placeholder that where they can just like make profit margins and turn a quick dollar. When it becomes something that where nobody's actually going to end up wearing the shoe, it's just exchanging hands so many times to where it's this almost financial placeholder to where you can make gains on it like a stock. I think me, as someone who cares about sneaker culture and fashion, that's kind of sad. Like I know there's collectors markets and everything, but this is different because now it's coming to a point where the initial buyers are people looking to resell. A lot of other collectors markets are people who have held onto a sports card or something like that and eventually sell it. Like I understand that that's a collector, but it's gotten to the point in the sneaker culture now where the initial buyers are the resellers. Whereas in a lot of other markets, the initial buyers are people who intend to keep them. So we're talking about the sole purpose to resell. And to me, we want to leave this conversation up to you, but right. That's just kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Again, open-ended. I know it's personal to a lot of people because I know some people out there literally live off of reselling sneakers.
Right.
So it is some it is your livelihood. Did you say you're sad for them?
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. Steady paper chasing. Get your money. Educate yourself financially.
You're like an oil baron.
But Yes, like an oil.
Just kidding.
bit.
I'm just kidding.
Yes, this is an ongoing conversation we want you to be a part of. So if you have any personal stories with this or any comments or perspectives that we did not have that you want to add into the conversation, please comment below, DM us your story. You can get connected with us through our Instagram at Burnt Denim or YouTube Burnt Denim.
I just want to ask you one thing. If you try to go for sneakers, how many more sneakers L's are you willing to take? Come on, people. You know when you... Nike has an app called Sneakers, if you don't know. And whenever they do releases, you have to get up at 7 a.m. and you have to press the freaking thing and hope you get the shoe. How many more raffles are you willing to lose to these freaking resellers? That's all I have to say.
It's time to take a stand.
It's time to take a stand.
The revolution will begin.
The revolution begins today. No, but anyway.
I think Adidas now has an app like that.
Yeah, they probably do.
Confirm.
Yeah,
something
they do.
like
They've
that.
had it for a while, yeah.
I don't know.
We don't really know Adidas that much.
It's an ongoing conversation, so please get connected with us on that. We'd love to hear your perspective on is it justified to resell sneakers? So with that, moving forward to our next segment of the podcast / YouTube channel, we are transitioning into asking for a friend. This is just a laid back conversation between me and Max that we go over some of the questions that you guys have for us surrounding fashion, streetwear, sneakers, anything culture wise, and we kind of give you guys our take and perspective on it.
These are our real thoughts, our true unfiltered.
Real talk.
So the first question we have today is from Sierra. Love you, girl. Tips for someone what are some tips for people trying to get into fashion and sneakers, but they don't know where to start? This is a really good question. Do you have any thoughts off the bat?
Well, it depends on what you mean by trying to get into, as in like getting into as knowing about the history and culture of it.
Listen to the podcast. I mean, that's how you get into it. You know what I mean?
Honestly, well,
actually though,
that's the great thing. So it's if you're wanting to get into, meaning knowing the history and culture around it versus wanting to become more of a fashionable person. Two different questions. I'd say if you're interested into learning about the history, this podcast honestly is a good place to start. It's about having conversations that are going on in this, fashion streetwear culture. So it's good to kind of, at the very least, if you're not engaging, to view and spectate on the conversation to sort of learn different people's perspectives. Other YouTube channels, honestly, is where I learn a lot.
Yeah,
me too. Following big Instagram pages.
Instagrams, look at YouTube.
Different things like that to where you can kind of see things as they progress. And then every once in a while, like jump back into the history as they sort of like bring something up. I think too, honestly, going out and being in different shops and having conversations with people. I've learned the most just like talking to people about stuff. Like you can watch documentaries and you can watch like all these things, which are great for educating you, but also having the conversations and building those relationships, I think is really what gets you into it. Because then it's not about just these commodities. It's about relationships and friendships that you made as a result of that, which I think is more important. So that's what I'd say is just have conversations with people, like talk to, like ask questions, learn. Like for the most part, people aren't like jerks about it.
Right. There can be, so look out for those people. But yeah, to really get started into fashion sneakers, you can check out YouTube, like literally like getting into fashion, like just type a basic thing. I know that sounds so basic, but that's a way.
YouTube for like personal taste and stuff.
And also I would just start trying out different styles. Like you don't want to break the budget and spend hundreds of dollars on different clothes trying to figure out what your style is, what your sneakers are, or sneakers you like. But just try a few things. Try a few different looks. Maybe you take inspiration from a certain Instagram, or you take inspiration from an outfit you saw a celebrity wear. That's where we see a lot of outfits. And even going to a store and saying, hey, I'm just getting into fashion. Like I'm wanting to like build a wardrobe. Like where do you suggest like I go to like, look for things like that. And for sneakers too, don't get caught in a trap of needing to buy expensive, as we talked about, like resellable and hype shoes. There's so many good sneakers that can get you into the sneaker world that are foundations that are cheap. Air Force Ones, Chuck Taylors. There's always Nikes at a Nike outlet. Go to a Nike outlet. Even go to Ross and Marshalls. They have some crazy finds there. Right. And just checking out different shoes. Don't get caught in that trap of thinking you need to fit a certain a style, or you need to, have a certain hype shoe or something like that to be able to get into the sneaker world, because you really don't.
Which I think ties into the next question. So what is the best way to build up your wardrobe? This question is by Tyler.
Tyler, my man.
Tyler Wren.
Right.
Mang Bros.
Maine.
If you know, you know. Only Tyler knows. So what is the best way to build up your wardrobe? What do you think?
I think, yeah, so the best way to build up your wardrobe for me, I'm pretty sure I've said this on the podcast before, but I'll say it again. Start with the pants. You're always going to be able to find shirts, t-shirts that fit you pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's a lot harder to find a pair of pants that fits you nice, that drapes on you well, that fits your legs well, that fits your waist. And so I would always start with the pants. I'd have a pair. Right now I'm really into baggy, so a pair of cargo pants is a great way to start. A good pair of jeans, a good reliable pair of worn in jeans, or wear them in yourself, you know, depending on what you like.
Yeah.
You can find a lot thrifting. You know, a pair of sweats. So always start with the pants. Then find, do you like, you know, more dressy shirts, button up shirts, or do you like t-shirts? Like, what fits you more? Then invest in the shirts. Then I think the shoes, I'd put the pants first. I may put the shoes second, or the shirts. You know, I'm not really sure there. It's kind of up for debate. But shoes, you can kind of fit. You can just have a white pair of shoes and really wear them with anything. And so, yeah. So really, I would start with the pants, have a good pair of jeans, have a good pair of cargos, or, you know, cargo materials, and have a good pair of sweats, like high-end sweats, not like those gray, you know, like run into the store in your flip-flop sweats. And yeah, and then move up to the shirts, and then the shoes. Have a good pair of athletic shoes. Have a good pair of dress shoes. Dress shoes are really important. You may not wear them every day, but you want to be ready for that event and have that as your wardrobe. That's an essential part of your wardrobe. If it's a Chelsea boot, if it's a wingtip, whatever it is. And then, yeah, have a pair of running shoes, a pair of trainers. And then always having a pair of like a Vans or a Converse, like a canvas shoe, is also a good
Like something that you can just beat up.
Yeah, something you can beat up. So I'd say that's how you start. And then a thing that Tyler had also asked too is like, as your tastes change, use those older clothes that you may not wear anymore, sell those, and use that money, recycle it, as we talked about, to be able to buy new pieces you like. I've sold shoes that I wore in the past to get a pair of shoes I wanted in the future. I've sold clothes I've wanted a new piece of clothing, but I don't want to spend a lot of money, so I sell old clothing that I don't wear anymore. Recycle up as you get new interests, and it's not as hard as you think. If you just throw something up on Facebook Marketplace, you'll get an offer.
Yeah, so I would say, similar to what you're saying, build off what you're saying. Pants control the silhouette of your body. So finding a good pair of pants can control your outfit. With that though, I think the biggest thing, honestly, is understanding your body type. I think everyone is built differently. So I think you sort of learning what fits you best and what looks best on your proportions of your body will like help you make decisions moving forward. Like what you like, what styles do fit you. Like for example, like me, like I'm a taller person, but body proportionate wise, like I have shorter legs in proportion to my torso. So like wearing cropped pants don't look good on me.
Yeah, you have to know your body.
Right. So I think doing that sort of helps out. But also too, I said the main thing is just trial and error, sort of like trying things out. If it doesn't look good, then it doesn't look good. But I think it's all about like, it's a process over time. And again, too, you personally change over time and your style changes over time. Yes. So it's okay to like be fluid in that, and to also like, I'd say when you're first trying things out, don't make crazy investments into it financially.
Yes, that's huge. Don't
do cheaper things. Trying out more like shapes, if that makes sense. Like try how chunky sneakers are on you versus like thinner, smaller sneakers,
or
baggy, skinny jeans, or
you'll
like
find out
oversized shirts versus fitted t-shirts. You know, different things like that. I think it's all about trial and error and finding out what style you're into. Also, another huge thing is also buying within your lifestyle and your means. Meaning if you're like a middle lower class person, you're not going to go out and buy all these luxury brands,
don't do that.
right? Because it's going to put you in like a compromised financial
Invest
situation.
your money. Be smart with your money.
Right. So it's all supposed to reflect in one way or another sort of your interest in a way. So I think sort of like thinking about that, having that in mind, to also like you want to be able to wear it and do something. You don't want to wear something that's so unfamiliar to you that you're uncomfortable going out,
right?
Because you're trying to project a false image of yourself.
I agree. I agree. And don't completely base your wardrobe on somebody else's. Like you can take inspiration, but if you
like have
if you think
influences,
you know, like if you like how crop pants look on someone, and then you like buy all these crop pants, they don't look good on you. You know, you have to try things out, and yeah, as Nick said, you know, buy cheaper versions of the things like of baggy pants, skinny jeans, oversized tees, fitted tees, all these other things. Buy cheaper versions of them, and once you find out what looks good, then spend the money on developing your wardrobe tailored to that look.
Right, you don't want to spend like $500 on a pair of Fear of God jeans. Turn out that they don't look good on your legs. You know, so I think in those times it's a little more justified to invest in like or buy like cheaper alternatives. Just test it out. Test the waters. Great question though. Great question.
Thank you, Todd. So that was asking for a friend. Keep sending in your questions. We'll post again on our Instagram, and our Instagram again is at Burnt Denim. And this week we have another small business shout out. We did one last week. This week our small business shout out is Vintage Plugs. Our good friends Elijah and Porter run this page, mostly Porter, Elijah. Hey, no roast Elijah. But check them out on Instagram. They already have a lot of followers, but check them out. Buy from them. Super amazing dudes running that.
Guys,
and that's our small business shout out. So
so that's it.
Like, subscribe, leave comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Follow Instagram.
More than anything, we love you guys. Until next time.
Peace.
We out.